Well, greetings, vinyl community. Today is Wednesday, November 22nd, and tomorrow is Thanksgiving for those of us in the USA, at least. For those of us outside of the USA, tomorrow is Thursday. Guess what? I have some records to show you. I knew you'd be surprised. Starting with this outfit from Pennsylvania, Bedford of Metaphysicians, 1986 album by Bedford of Metaphysicians, and I think their only offering, self-titled. And this is a kind of satirical, slightly avant experimental rock, but very accessible. Maybe a little bit of Zappa, a little bit of Steely Dan, kind of a smart aleckness to it. And this is produced by some folks who revel in the names of Dirt Condominium on guitar, bass, and chroma, Burma Diode on keyboards, and the Dark Bongo on saxophone, among others, including some guest vocals by the illustrious Kid Trousers. They provide such edifying compositions as the Wish I'd Gone to Vietnam Blues, and the epic Gravity Pulls the Trousers Down, Morality Pulls the Trousers Up, and Empty V, a nice little shot at everybody's favorite former music channel, with references to the early days of video killing the radio star and all that kind of good stuff. Next up, Traffic with their album from 1973, Shootout at the Fantasy Factory. Obviously, in a way, a companion album to Low Spark of High-Heeled Boys, being the second album in a row with, as Cream Magazine, I think, put it, the corners gnawed off. Rather different, though. It's a different lineup of Traffic. The rhythm section of Jim Gordon and Rick Gretsch is gone and replaced by Roger Hawkins and David Hood from the Muscle Shoals scene. And there is a scene of the band for this. It's kind of a lower energy album than its predecessor. Not nearly as good, I would say. This is, in fact, probably the weakest of the original Traffic albums. It's not bad by any means. It's got a pretty fine opener with the title track, Shootout at the Fantasy Factory. Nice percolating percussion from Rebop Kwakuba to kick things off. That's a nice steaming little number, but it gets just a little bit slow. I think they were recording in Jamaica and probably being a little laid back in the process. Still, the song Roll Right Stones is a really interesting epic. It doesn't have quite the mojo that the title track from Low Spark had, but definitely worth it. Really hard to go wrong when Steve Winwood is involved, so there you go. Meredith Monk recently celebrated a birthday a couple days ago, so happy birthday, Meredith. This is her album Songs from the Hill Tablet, released in 1979 on the Vergo Spectrum series. The label. Side 1 is devoted to the Songs from the Hill. Songs from the Hill composed in 1976 upon a hill in New Mexico. And these are vocal solos, chants, different experimentations with Meredith's voice. Sounds like insects. There was a track called Insect. ululations, meows. First piece has got some really lovely meowing. The second side is tablet, and that is for a quartet of female voices with piano and recorder. And it's an extended piece in various sections, and all wordless vocals. Very cool work, and you may know her pieces on the ECM label. This is a little bit more out than that, but very much worth a hearing. American composer Charles Warrenen on the Nonesuch label. His string trio for violin, viola, and cello, along with Bearbeitungen über das Glogauer Liederbuch, which is his modernized adaptations of music from, a past century, 15th century, yes. So we've got that early Renaissance kind of feel to the pieces, which are scored for flute and piccolo, clarinet and bass clarinet, violin and cello. And finally, Grand Bambula for string orchestra. And one interesting thing about this is the very present sound on it. If you want to listen to a string trio and imagine that you're in the auditorium or in a theater, a concert hall, and you've got the band right up there on the stage, this isn't for you, because this is like actually being someone in the string trio and having the bow hit the string right up there against your ear. This is a very in-your-face recording. Kind of a speaker tester. And David Bedford also brings up to date some music from the Renaissance in his composition Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. This is mostly performed by Bedford himself on various pianos and organs and assorted other instrumental bits and bobs, recorders, swanee flutes, violins, cymbals, and gong, chime bars, wine bottle phone. That's an interesting instrument. Mike Oldfield provides guitar. There is a portion towards the end with a girls' choir, which gets a little bit syrupy, but the piece is generally very forbidding because being based on the Coleridge poem, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, it's very much a sound portrait of the frozen wastes that the mariner suffered through. And the narration is not the poem itself. The narration is from the glosses or summaries that Coleridge provided in his final revision of the poem. And it's also the source of the phrase pious bird of good omen, which you may have heard from Fleetwood Mac. And a video or two ago, I showed a Wapasu album with cover artwork taken from the works of Gustave Doré. Well, here's another one with a Doré cover, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner by David Bedford from 1975 on the Virgin label with this variant of the label. And finally, another 70s recording, but of a work from 1912, Schernberg's Pierrot Lunaire. And this is Schernberg's adaptation of 21 poems by Albert Giraud about the Commedia dell'arte character Pierrot, and he is depicted in, as the title implies, nighttime scenes, and it has a very weird nocturnal air to it. And Schernberg composed his work for a quintet plus the vocalist. The quintet is of flute and clarinet, violin, which doubles on viola, and cello and piano. This is Pierre Boulez directing the ensemble with the vocals by Yvonne Minton, and the vocals in the piece are famously performed in Sprechstimme, or speak voice is what Sprechstimme means. It's speech singing, where the rhythms are strictly indicated, but the pitches are meant to be delivered not in a clearly sung way, but just glancingly touched on with the rest of the delivery as if speaking. This contains this is on the Columbia Masterworks label, this later version of the label. This is released from 1978. Comes with a little booklet with notes and all of the poems in the original French, the German translation, and an English translation. This performance is probably not going to be one of my favorites. I don't feel that Yvonne Minton really delivers the madness of this piece, because it is very much imbued with madness. This Pierrot is a complete maniac. Many of the poems are about how he torments another character, Cassander. In one, he through the bald pate of Cassander, as he rends the air with screeches, bores Pierrot in feigning tender fashion with a cranium driller. He then presses with his finger rare tobacco grown in Turkey in the bald pate of Cassander, as he rends the air with screeches. Then, screwing a cherry pipe stem right in through the polished surface, sits at ease and smokes and puffs the rare tobacco grown in Turkey from the bald pate of Cassander. So this Pierrot is not a really friendly clown. This is a scary clown, this Pierrot. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Be well. Talk with you again soon. Bye-bye for now.